Forensic analyst Mmapshedi Masetla has wrapped up his testimony at the Senzo Mayiwa murder trial. We take a look at today's developments as a new witness has also taken to the stand. An HR manager who works at Sibanye, who would have looked into the affairs of accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi. Elton Hart is a legal analyst and he joins us now to take a look at this story. Thank you very much, Elton, for your time this afternoon. Perhaps let's start with what we heard from Mr. Masetla, especially when it comes to DNA. Let's take a look, listen at this.
Does the fact that no DNA could be found in certain places, in certain loci, does that influence the final result?
It influenced the interpretation of the results in terms of saying that it will then become that you are not be able to read the person on that particular sample because you are not reading him fully in all the DNA regions. So that's where the influence is.
Now, in the field of DNA, do you only exclude and include, or is there a midway in between? Say, for instance, partial inclusion.
In our case, we include and exclude, and in some instance where we don't include you, let's say in one region, we'll say no conclusion. So if, let's say, we are not including you in one region, we'll write it as a no conclusion. So we wouldn't say we are including you or we are excluding you. We'll just give it to say, well, we can't make a final conclusion on this particular individual.
Now, just in general, are there any factors that can lead to a situation where a suspect DNA is not found on the crime scene?
My Lord, for me to say that it will be using like common knowledge to say anyone can be, if your DNA is not on the scene, for me now it will be using my common knowledge to say maybe you didn't touch anything on the scene, of which I wouldn't like to go too much on that.
Elton Hart, given that no incontrovertible evidence against 3 men accused of Senzo Mayiwa's murder was found, especially when it comes to DNA at least on the crime scene, how helpful has this testimony by the forensic expert who analyzed and compared DNA, was it to the court, and in whose favor, the defense or the state?
No, for me, that's helpful information to the court, so the court can look at DNA because it's not challenged. Now the evidence is before court, and DNA is normally the best type of evidence if the analysis has been done properly, and I don't see that it was disputed, that it can say a person was there or a person was not there. And the mere fact that Tumelo Madlala, Zandi Kumalo, and Mtokozizi Twala testified that one of the intruders had a Scotch hat, what they referred to as a tops, like a round head on their heads when they were in there and they fought with them and their head dropped. That means then whoever was wearing that hat is not one of those 5 accused. So that already says to me then it means that there was somebody maybe according to their version in the house, but it was not one of these 5 accused, because one of them was supposed to be wearing that hat and his DNA was supposed to be found on that hat, because all of us, common knowledge, know if you put a hat on your head, the sweat will go into that band of the head. And then also now this DNA evidence can also now sort of be used to actually discredit what Zungu was saying. Zungu was saying that these guys were at the Sutu hostel doing certain things, and hence he drew the conclusion that to say where we have referred to Zungu's evidence at some stage, some people refer to it as damning evidence. There's no crime for them that they're supposed to be enforced arrest. Also, if they want to be charged with being in possession of a gun or guns at some stage, they can charge them with that. But now for the defense, this is very helpful to prove that whatever Zandile Kumalo and Tokozizi Twala and Tumelo Madlala said about the head, if the court finds them that they are credible witnesses and the witness testimony that they gave should stand, then it means that yes, it stands, the intruders had a hat on but it's not one of those guys based on the DNA analysis. So it works in favor of the defense at this point in time. And for once, I see that the state is actually forthcoming with information that also sort of breaks down the case. And I saw Advocate Baloy try to say that is that the only inference. From the DNA, he was trying to now get the analyst to speculate, and speculation is not allowed. But for me, it sits well with the defense now at this point in time.
Because that had the crutch, the blood, at some point there was a cell phone also in the kitchen. Those would have been crucial to this investigation. Then swab 7 taken from the toilet handle had DNA belonging to a woman, but did not include any of the women in the house at the time, which included Kumala, her sister Zandi, as well as their mother. That's quite curious, no?
No, that's quite curious. And then that for me, if there's evidence of another person that was in the house, then that narrative that the defense was driving, that there was tampering with the crime scene. Because now it shows there's DNA of another woman that was found in this house. So except these 7 that we knew that was in the house on that fateful night when he got killed, there was other people. Who was those other people? Maybe it was the people that actually came to clean the crime scene. We never know. So now it casts more doubt on the state's case. So for me, what the DNA analyst has now placed on the table, that can work well for the defense. And now the defense should just use it properly in their arguments to say, listen here, they found other DNA of people. It's not the Kumalos, it's not Mapiri, it's not whoever was having a ball with you that night with Senzo. It's somebody else. Who's that people? So then we can say that other people were in the house, and that opens that door that there was maybe tampering, or the crime scene was altered or cleaned up, as we alluded to on earlier discussions about this, the cleaning of the crime scene and how the crime scene was found.
The burden of proof is then now the defense expected to prove that?
No. The defense, remember, an accused person, when he's accused of a crime, he has nothing to prove. He does not need to prove that he's innocent. The state carries the burden of proof to prove that the accused has committed a crime beyond a reasonable doubt. There must not be any doubt. There must not be any other inference that can be drawn from the evidence except that you have committed the crime. And this, what we've seen in the last 2 days, does not sit well with the state's case.
I guess we'll get into the HR manager's testimony a little bit later on, because he's expected to get back on the stand at 2 p.m. It just got through some, 5-7 minutes of his testimony. But for now, we say thank you very much, Elton Hart, a legal analyst, for your time this afternoon.